everybody, this is Christine with Coco Daisy, and I have a super fun mini album that I created. I haven't done a mini album in a while. I've shown you cards, I've shown you 12 by 12 layouts, I've shown you the smaller TN layouts that we do in our Simple Daisy notebook, and I thought, you know what, it's time for a mini album. I haven't done one in a while. And the inspiration for this is actually our little color palette tin. So I have a couple of these laying around that I was playing with. And what's fun about these tins is, so we had these back in, was it July? Yes, July. And the reason we offered them is we had in the July creative kit, we had some beautiful shimmering watercolors and a watercolor brush. And we thought, well, it would be nice to offer a tin for you to keep those in if you wanted to. So this is just something we've had in the store. It's not included with any kit, but we wanted to offer it the same month that we offered those beautiful watercolors that were in the creative kit for July. So we have a whole bunch of them. I do think we're getting kind of low on stock, but I was playing with these because what's fun with these tins is you can use them for a lot of different things. So aside from the watercolors, you can use them to hold die cuts. They will hold pens. So if you just have some nice pens that you don't want to get beat up, that you want to put in your bag, they will hold pens, markers, highlighters, like I said, die cuts. I use one to hold my collection of vinyl stickers. So I have a bunch of those in there. You can also use them to hold all of your Coco Daisy pins if you want, or if you have some of our pretty clips or bows, you can hold those in here. So lots of fun ways that you can use these. And I was thinking, what is something else that I could, so while I was playing with that, I had this idea because it is about the size of the 4x6 pocket cards. So if you get our scrapbooking kit, which is what this is based off of, this is our October Glow scrapbooking kit. I should clarify that. You can order our scrapbooking kit as a standalone, or you can order it with our Simple Daisy notebook, with the pocket cards, or with our 12 by 12 paper. And I wanted to highlight the pocket cards this month. So, and this is, I don't have much left. I used up just like about everything in here. I had a lot of fun with this. So the pocket cards come, you get 3x4, and then you get, is it 24 or, I'm trying to remember. I think it's 24 3x4 cards, double-sided, and then you get 4 double-sided 4x6 cards. So between that and the pattern paper, I created a mini album. So the first thing I did is like, okay, I don't want a lot of the black to show. And I was trying to figure out how can I cover the sides. So I used the washi tape and ran the washi tape all around the edge when it was closed. I then just took my craft knife and just cut right down the seam. So that covered the edge real pretty. I then took a piece of the pattern paper and cut it to size. I used my little corner rounder, rounded the corners, and then that became my cover. I added a piece of chipboard, a little bit of twine on there, a rub-on, and a die-cut sticker. And then that's my cover. And isn't that pretty? I think it turned out really, really well. And then when you open it up, so the whole reason for the tin is it holds the mini album. So you open it up. I had this little bead chain, and then inside is this fun mini album. And I made this up using the 4x6 cards, the pattern paper, and some of the 3x4 cards. So we're just going to page through here, and I'm going to show you what I did. You can always add to this. If you want to do something like this for Thanksgiving, if you want to make a gratitude type of album, it would be really fun. And you could do it ahead of time and then just wait and add pictures later. Kind of like what Allie Edwards does with her December Daily. It's kind of, you could do that with a gratitude. You could make a cute Halloween album out of this with our Halloween kit. Would be really, really fun to do something like this. Then you would probably just leave the edge black if you wanted to. Would be cool. I think you could even paint that. So if you wanted to paint the tin a different color, I think you could do that. Or if you wanted to use this same idea with a December Daily type of idea, with a Christmas. We have a Christmas kit coming out, guys. That'll be out soonish. That'll be a lot of fun. You could do that kind of idea as well. So this is just a fun structure that you could apply to a lot of different things. So let's just page through here. I did a die cut. We have these great little clips I thought were fun. I added one of those. And then, so if I page through here, I just layered things. I added some of the die cuts, some of the stickers, some of the rub-ons, some more of the pocket cards. There is a super fun stamp set. I'll show you some things I did with that. This little guy, I love, 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 love this. So these are not sticky notes. This is just a little notepad of 3 different designs. So there's this design, and then there is this design, and then there's this design. Isn't that cool? So you get all 3 of those designs. Like I said, they're not a sticky note. They're just a heavier weight paper. They're great for journaling. I stamped the little autumn stories on this one and tucked it behind, and I even took a little hole punch and punched through the little tag, but they just tear off, and they're just, like I said, they're a really nice weight. They're not too thin, they're not too thick. Added some rub-ons on there, and then this one you see the just added a photograph there, a piece of chipboard, one of the pocket cards, and these papers. So this is all just some of the pattern paper, piece of chipboard, and another 3x4 paper card. I cut this 3x4 card down a little bit, added the photograph, a couple of die cuts. This is just one of the chipboard tags. And then also in the kit are 2 of these beautiful vellum pockets that are already sewn. So you're getting this great texture and you don't have to do anything, which I love that idea, right? Added a little rub-on on here, and then I used one of the, let's see, I think it's the other one. It's this one. I used this one, and I stamped the little leaf, and then I stamped the circle around it, and then I did add some journaling on there. So that just tucks in there. It tucks in there along with the little photograph. So it's a fun way to add something, another layer. And again, I love how this is stitched. I don't have to do that work. Added another one tucked behind a photograph. I stamped the autumn underneath the photograph, but then to highlight that circle, you know, remember in design, you want to repeat patterns and shapes, right? So repeating that circular shape of the little bowl that Lilu is looking at, I stamped the autumn memories right onto the photograph. If you're going to stamp onto a photograph, make sure you use a special ink or it will smear. So I used a Stays-On ink. It's like a, I'm trying to remember, I think it's a solvent ink, if I remember correctly. Anyway, Stays-On black works great on photographs. This is one of the 4x6 cards. It's so pretty. And then another one of the pieces of chipboard. Like you can see, like my chipboard's almost all gone. And like I said, you get 2 of the pockets. So I did that here. And then I added a tiny little photograph on there, stamped on that, and I tucked that in here. But then what I did is where it falls in the pocket, I stamped right on the vellum. And I thought that was a really neat way highlight the picture that's behind there. And again, just kind of add that little teeny bit of interest on there. A 3x4 card. And then this one, I layered a 3x4 card with a photograph, a little bit of journaling, and some of the big die cut alpha stickers. Put those on there. I liked that. Another card, and then another photograph. And then I just layered some of the pattern paper, did a little stamping on there, chipboard. And then this is the back page. Isn't that beautiful and fun? I mean, how cool is that? And then what a fun gift too, right? If you wanted to make something like this for Mother's Day, Father's Day, for a grandparent of a new baby, how fun to have a little mini album like that. I will say I made my dad a mini album a number of years ago. And it was really, really special. And it was, I think, like the top 10 things you've taught me. And I gave it to him for Father's Day. And, while he was in the nursing home, he had that setting out. And the ladies there always commented how much they loved it. And he would love to look through it. So it was very, very special. Those mini albums, trust me, they mean a lot to people. If you create them, and something like that as a gift for Christmas is way more precious than I think anything you could buy. So just a little note, some ideas on things that you can create using all of the items in our scrapbooking kit, but have fun. And again, if you get different kinds of containers with other things, you don't necessarily have to use our tin, but there's Altoid tins out there, right? You could make little mini albums. So just kind of think outside the box and have some fun and play. I always encourage you to do that. But make sure you hit like and subscribe at the end of this video. Spread the word for Cocoa Daisy. We love when you do that. And make sure you check out my stamping video. I'll show you a bunch more ways on how to use this stamp set, as well as all the other stamp sets that we offer for this month. All right, I think this is my absolute favorite project that I created this month. This is using the Creative Kit from the October Glow collection. But this is something that if you love to junk journal, if you like to journal without photographs, if you love just the act of gluing bits and pieces down, if you love ephemera, or you like to do a type of scrapbooking where you're cutting things out of magazines, or you grab bits and bobs from wherever you go out for coffee, or even tags from your clothing, stuff like that. This was kind of that kind of using as many layers as I could, and I absolutely had a blast. So, and part of the reason I did this is I wanted to share with you and show you the fun ways that you can use the new product we have in the Creative Kit. Super excited about this. So we have beautiful cardstock paper, and we have that beautiful cardstock paper. It has its purpose. A nice heavyweight paper is brilliant for scrapbooking, for making dashboards out of in a planner kit, for creating pockets, anything that you need that little bit of heavier, sturdier stock for. But sometimes when you want to make a lot of layers and you need to crumple things, or you want to have a good torn edge, and you want to have little bits and pieces kind of curled up and things, you want a thinner cardstock, right? So that's what we did for the Creative Kit. We made this beautiful paper pad. It is 20 sheets, lots of paper, and 2 sheets of each design. So there's 10 designs in here. You get 2 sheets of each design. I always like to have 2 sheets because otherwise I feel like I'm going to hoard them. because I'm like, oh, I love that paper. I don't know if I want to use it yet. Well, if you have two, then you always feel good about tearing one up and using it however you want. Or if you make a mistake, you're like, oh, dang it, I ruined it. Well, when you always have two, and that's why we always give you two of the pattern paper. That's just my own personal experience after having scrapbooked and crafted for more than 2 decades. I have found having two of each sheet is always helpful. It's printed only on the one side, which is nice because that gives you that great white edge. The core shows through when you tear it, which is perfect. It's a thin, lightweight, still sturdy enough to stamp on, to do rub-ons on, to tear up and crumple without it being too fragile, which is nice, but it is thinner than our regular cardstock, and it makes it perfectly tearable. Tearable, not terrible. So 2 different ways of saying that. But anyway, I absolutely, absolutely love this. And this is going to be a staple, at least for the foreseeable future, in our creative kit. And this is a new pad. I don't have much left from my my first pad. I wanted to have a whole one to show you. Like, I have bits and pieces, and there's not a lot left. So I did go crazy, and I had so much fun with this. So, and the other thing that you can do is if there's anything in there that has an image on it, I cut out a bunch of this great collage paper with these old kind of vintage pieces. I cut those out and layered them. There's a little ruler piece that I added on there. And then I just took that, and I even took the packaging, this little craft folder or envelope that our Deco cards come in. I used that as a layer as well. And a little note on the Deco cards. They are finally where I want them to be. So remember, there was kind of this transition where they were kind of die cuts, but not really. This is what I had envisioned them being, is more like these beautiful little cards, not a full-size pocket cards. We offer those, but something a little bit different, but a little bit larger than a die cut, with gorgeous images and sayings and fun things that you could tuck on a layout, that if you feel like creating, but you don't have a photograph, these are the perfect addition. Or to add these to a photograph if you want to. But this kind of ties in to me perfectly with the idea of having this kind of a collection, or this kind of a kit. It's for playing, it's for creating without any set agenda, without any rules, without any time constraints. A lot of us, if we have scrapbooks or we have journals, it's like, oh, I have to get it done because I have to get caught up. This is just for you to play and have fun and be creative. And that's what I love about it. And these give you that option, just kind of some fun. You can tuck these into a journal. You can tuck them into a planner even if you want to. But it's a fun way to build up a layout and just have fun and play. And that's the other items in here are that whole same vibe. We have a gorgeous rub-on sheet that is all background and textures. We have a stamp that is a great texture background stamp. You can see where I used it here. And then we included the little mini Distress ink cube to go with it. It's the perfect color, goes perfectly well with this. So let's talk a little bit about the layers and what I did. I'm using a standard size notebook for mine. So this is just the standard size. And I literally just took papers and started tearing. I just started tearing some of the patterns that I liked, and I just started playing. I just started layering them and playing around like little bits and pieces. What did I like? Where did I want to put them? And it's really that simple. I knew I wanted this image with this, and then I just kind of built it up from there. I loved this plaid. So I had some edges that are torn, some that are straight. Again, you've seen that great white core shine through here. And then I did a little bit of crumpling, a little bit of folding over. Like I said, I cut out some of the images from this one and tucked them in, and I kind of get it built up, and then I'd go, no, I want to add one more thing, and then I'd add a little bit of the stamping. I'd add a little bit of the rub-ons on there. Here you can see where I cut up the rub-ons and literally rubbed them on over top of all of the layers. Like there's 3 layers here, and I did the rub-on over all 3, and I love how that turned out. I added a few die cuts on here, a fun little date stamp, and then I added the Deco card on top of this envelope. I punched holes in this. I had this kind of twill ribbon. I don't know what that was left over from. I put that through. This is actually not part of the kit. This is just a tag I had from a clothing tag. And I know a lot of us keep them because some of them are really beautiful and heavy duty. And that's what I thought about that one. I have a little drawer full of them, and I'm like, this is perfect. So again, this is not part of the kit. This is just kind of me sticking some little ephemera in there. You could always add some more journaling in there. You could add photographs. If you did want to add photographs to this, you could add that in the little envelope there. If you wanted to do a layout like this about a recipe, I always love to tuck recipes in envelopes like that. And again, little memorabilia or anything that you went on a trip and you wanted to add that in there, it would be really fun as well. And then I added my journaling over top of that. And it's just journaling about autumn, you know. So again, there's no pressure because you're capturing a memory or a particular moment, and this is just creating for creating's sake. And I love that idea because that is a muscle that the more that you play, the better you'll get at it, and the more you'll feel confident about it too. Because sometimes when you look at all of these layers, it's a little intimidating. But if you're just tearing paper and you're having fun and you're layering and it's just for you, it's not necessarily for a scrapbook you're going to show anybody, then I think that gives you the freedom to play and just enjoy the whole process and throw all those layers down, you know. And again, you're getting 2 sheets, so you can totally play, and if you mess up, it's okay. And honestly, you can't really mess up in a junk journal type of format like this. So I hope this has inspired you to play. I hope you're as excited as I am about the paper pad, and yeah, have some fun. So I shared with you on a different project how I had used some of the vellum and textured paper in a little bit of a different way. I wanted to share another idea on how to use our overlays or vellum and how to add a page into your notebook. So, and I'm using, for this little project, I'm using items from the stationery kit. And this is the October Glow stationery kit from our October collection. And the stationery kit, some of the things will change, but something that is always in the stationery kit is a sheet of vellum and an overlay. And a lot of times I've shown you just as a straight overlay or vellum piece. I've put in kind of as a divider maybe in my ring bound pages. So we're switching it up a little bit this month, and I wanted to show you how you could use that as almost like not necessarily a tip-in, but almost creating a page in a notebook. They're easy to add to a rings bound type of system. You just punch a hole in them and stick them in. It's easy to do. But if you have one of our notebooks or you have your own kind of notebook, how do you add them, right? So what I did here, and I'm using for my example here, I'm using a B6 size notebook. And I took my overlay, I cut it down. So I took a little bit off the top and a little bit off the side. And all I did, because we have, to me, this is the perfect size because it's not too thick, it's not too thin, this adorable little gingham pattern. And when I cut this down, I cut it down so that it came in a little bit from the gutter here of the notebook because I wanted to have enough room to use the washi tape. So I put a little bit of this, just basically you're half on the overlay and half on the notebook. And you hold it, it will hold it down. Then what you do is you flip the page over and you do the same thing on the other side. You just add a piece on this side. So you're basically sandwiching that overlay between two pieces of washi tape, and you've now added a really fun page. And the way that I broke down kind of as an example to do my spread is the neat thing about our notebooks is that they're set up that they have enough pages for one per day. So I've got this set up as dailies. So I used some of the daily stickers, the weekday stickers on here. And then we have this awesome roll of pet tape with a bunch of beautiful, there's a background watercolor sticker on there. I love that. There's leaves on here. This autumn definition is really sweet. And then the other thing that's on here that's really cool is actually this little October calendar. How cool is that? So I added that up on the page as well. And you get a whole roll of these. So you have tons and tons and tons of stickers. Love that. And you can see where I added a bunch of them. I added them behind the days of the week. Got some down here. This little to date, I added that from the other sticker sheet. And just have a little section here that I can highlight with this one in particular I used for the menu. So these are sticky notes. I put that on there just to kind of break up the page. And then what I did, I thought it would be kind of neat. So you have your to-do list. I always love to show you how to break down and use these pages. So they're not just a straight to-do list. You know, if you want to do a little journaling, if you want to write about something that happened that day, just something that you remember about the day, or you want to journal about the day. So I have my to-do list. I have a little thought for the day, and then I have my menu. And then on this page, it's the same idea. My to-do list, my thought for the day, and then my menu. And this one I just used some of the stickers. This is one of the Vellum die cuts. Used one of those and one of the little pet stickers on there. And it turned out really, really cute. I love that. And I also wanted to show how you don't have to use these full size. If you have a smaller notebook, you can cut these down and use them in a smaller notebook this way. You could always do it on this side and create a tip-in, as opposed to like a page, which is a fun thing to do as well. And then of course I added my cute little bow with the acorns on there. But it was a fun little project, and I enjoyed. I'm gonna like start adding pages all the time to my notebooks now. I love that. I love the fact that you can kind of peek through and see what's on the next day, but not completely, and it adds that other layer of artwork on there.